Welcome back, ladies and gents, to another episode of the Coffee and Takes podcast. Today, I am very privileged to be joined by a young killer, a machine, Jacob. You're 20 now, right?
No, I'm 19.
19 years old. Still
that.
very young, but what a guy. I met him in the gym coming up to about was it a year? Have I known you for a year or longer?
Surely it's not been a year. It feels like so much less,
I feel like I've known you for longer than a year, though, for some reason. This guy's always in the gym,
I don't know, man.
always working out. Everybody gets on with this guy. You know, you see him in the gym networking, spotting people. I mean, yeah, what a guy to get on with, and we clicked straight away. And yeah, Jacob, just to introduce yourself to the audience, what you do currently, and then we'll jump into the juicy stuff.
Yeah. So I'm Jacob. I'm 19, not 20. I am currently in my last year of my college course doing sports science and exercise. I work as a gymnastics coach. I work with kids, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I think as Ali said, I met him in the gym. I feel like it must have been like, it might have been a year. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I met you through a mutual, and then we just
more than a year.
Yeah. Honestly, it probably has at this point. Time flies so much. I would never know. But yeah, man, we've just been talking every time I've seen you, man, and yeah, man, I'm just at the moment I'm just working, finishing college, hitting gym. That's the dream. That's it. That's the life right now.
A very productive routine, and you know, one thing I really respect about you is I mentioned first of all how you're a very extroverted person. You like to speak to people. People seem to gravitate towards you. You've got an aura about you in the gym. Because I pay attention to these things. You know, this person seems to attract quite a lot of attention, you know, in a good way. You're always there encouraging people in the gym to become better versions of themselves. And I guess that's probably why you lent towards maybe coaching. You enjoy that aspect of things, helping people. But what got you into gymnastics, first of all, and working, tutoring children?
Yes, that one's really weird, actually, because I actually did not apply to be a gymnastics coach. So, I have worked with kids in the past. I did when I was in secondary school. I did a lot of extracurricular, like sports leaders and things like that. So I would work with like the primary school kids, and we'd host like athletics tournaments and things like that. And that was great. Like I loved doing it, and like the kids loved me there, and that's fine. Obviously, I put that on my CV as like extra stuff that I've done. Originally, I applied for the CAF role in the building, so I had no intention of being a coach because I thought like I need to have like an official qualification. But then I did the interview, and the guy that interviewed me, he loved me, and he was like, he offered me to be a coach, and I was like, well, like never really coached, number one, properly, and number two, I've never done gymnastics like that. How am I going to do that? But he was like, no, we can offer to train you like on the job and things like that. And then I did it, and yeah, like now that's it. Like I did not foresee myself enjoying it as much as I do.
And what do you enjoy the most about it?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think it's a combination of things, really. What do I enjoy the most? I don't know. I think it's just a very satisfactory job because, you know, obviously I work with kids of all different ages, and I work with kids of different skill levels as well. But it's like, I think it is just that being partially responsible for like all of the success and the happiness that the kids are feeling when, you know, when they've been working on this skill for months and they finally get it, or when they start bringing these skills together, seeing them progress to like the next level up and things like that. Like, obviously they're ecstatic about it, and, you know, being the person that guided them towards that. Obviously that's them working hard and things like that, but being the person that guided them towards that, it's quite fulfilling. And every time, like even yesterday, probably the hardest bar skill that you can learn at the intermediate level in my gym, like one of my girls did it, and it was like, it's just such like a nice feeling, because it's like wow, like, and I'm the person that got her to that level. It's great. Like that's probably it. I think that's
children
it.
have this such a pure sort of response to winning and you know, achieving something. They can't believe it, and they're ecstatic, and they show so much emotion. You mentioned your class. Did they buy you gifts? Was it a few months back? They wrote you a card or something?
Oh my God, that's like the best thing. Like literally, like, I didn't expect it, but like, yeah, like for my birthday, like I think obviously like I talk to my kids and stuff when I'm teaching them and stuff, so they knew my birthday was like in December and stuff, and then they bought me like presents and chocolates. I was like, man, you can't do this, because if you do this you're gonna make me cry. And then they all just banded together to buy me presents, and they're like, cry. I'm like, all right, okay, chill, like. But oh
man, bless them.
Yeah, and like even like literally we were midway through a lesson, we were about to start doing some work on the beam, right? And like I was like, all right, everyone sit on the floor, and they all just started walking on the beam, and I'm getting ready to shout. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're not listening to me, you're all on the beam. And then they all got up together, stood in a line, and sang me happy birthday in front of the whole gym. Man. Apparently they planned this without me knowing. Like that, like those kind of moments, like you would never think of that happening, but that's like a core memory for me now. Like I loved that. That was great.
That's priceless. That is.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. It's really nice.
Oh, that's amazing. And obviously, so you've been doing it now for coming up to how long?
Just over a year now.
Just over a year. And obviously you're excelling at it as well. You're doing very well. Do you have any future aspirations with, being a gymnastics coach, taking it to another level? Or do you want to just go with the flow at the moment and just enjoy every class that you do? Yeah,
so it's a bit of both, actually. Like, I have been thinking recently about maybe actually doing an official qualification. I'm not sure if I will follow through with it, but it's something that I've thought about recently, because it's like, I do really like it. But like, literally, like, as you said there, like, it's, at the moment, like, the way I see it is it's like, it's especially at my age, it's probably the best to do what makes you happy right now. It's good to have aspirations and things to look on in the future, but at the moment I don't know if I'm going to want to do this forever. I don't know if there's going to be another job that takes my eye more. I don't know if there's going to be different circumstances where I have to move. At the moment I just know I'm enjoying it now, so for now it's just, this is making me happy, I'm going to put my all into it, and then if things get better in that department, amazing. If I decide to switch something else, still amazing. It's just whatever happens, really.
And that's the right approach to have, because there's many viewers that watch my channel that are 18, 19, 20, and they feel like the first thing that they do has to be the thing they do for the rest of their life, and they're so attached to what if it doesn't work out. It's almost like they believe that if it fails, then everything will come crumbling down. But I always remind them, you're 19, you're still young as shit. Go with the flow. When I was 19, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was retaking my A-levels, and then as soon as I finished my A-levels, I needed a job, so I started working in warehouses and stuff, and I was all over the place. I was confused. There was no aspiration to pursue a certain field. I was lost. Yeah. But I like your attitude of, you know what, this is what's going well right now. I'm enjoying it right now, and we'll see where things take me.
Yeah, no, for sure. 100%. Like, I think, like, one of the things, and so, because I am actually, like, I'm a year late in college, because I took a business course when I was living in Northampton, and I hated it. I dropped out, and then obviously I made the decision to come back and do sports. But technically, obviously, I'm a year behind, so a lot of my friends are in uni at the moment, and so many people that I've spoke to that I used to go to school with, and I'm like, oh, like, how is uni? And they're like, no, like, I thought that this was the job I wanted to do, and I was going to enjoy it, and right now I hate it. And that's why it is a really good thing to just do what makes you feel happy right now, because if you're signing up to and this is not like a discredit for people that do uni, if you're doing it for the experience and you want to do that, fantastic. If it's to develop a further qualification, amazing. But if you're doing it because you think that the qualification will give you a job that you think will make you happy, that's the wrong approach to go about it. You don't know. You have no idea. And things change and people change all the time.
That's true.
Don't sign up for something because you think it may impact you positively. Like you need to have like some kind of like knowledge of these things before you can commit that long into it. No,
100%. People place their happiness on a future date, on a certain event taking place. Once I graduate or once I get the job, then I'll be. And that mindset makes you a little bit depressed in the moment, because you're like, oh, I don't have it yet. So what's the point of celebrating, or what's the point of feeling grateful for it? But where did you get that attitude from? Because a lot of people grow up very fearful of taking on new opportunities and not knowing what the future holds. With you, it seems like, yeah, you know what, I'm just going to give it my best right now, and we'll see where life takes me. Where did you get that from?
So the quote of "do what makes you happy right now," that is from my mum. So that is,
shout out to Jacob's mum.
yeah, big up my mum. That is like the best piece of advice she has ever gave me. And it's so simple, but it's because it works because it can be applied to any specific scenario, to any person, because it does in whatever field of job or hobby or whatever. But I think as well, like, throughout my life, I have been snowballed into a lot of unknown, and I've had to have a lot of different fresh starts, which is unfair. But the more that it happens, the more that you realise it's like, instead of just sitting there thinking like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? What's the next thing? Oh, how is this going to lead to this? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, look, right now, this is happening. Like, it's just the more that it's happened to me, the more I've been able to accept it and understand it for what it is. And that's just like experience. Obviously, I'm not the most experienced person. I'm very young. You've got like a decade on me.
Thanks for making me feel like
sorry. Not yet. Not quite.
Almost
not quite a decade, just under. But like, and not everyone will have that many fresh starts as early as I have. It's just unfortunate circumstance, but it happens, and it will happen to everyone. As soon as it does happen, it becomes a lot more clear, I think. But you can just literally, if you just think about it in your own scenario in your life, you will, like, it just makes sense. Like, I don't know, like, I do a lot of self-reflection, I can't lie. I think about it quite a lot.
That's good. I think, yeah, when you go through a lot of experiences, especially early on in your life, it's a very valuable thing, because the earlier, the better. The earlier you know how to respond to certain situations, the better. There's a lot of people out there right now that are being dealt a bad card for the first time in their life, and they're 36. And they're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So when you go through hardship at a young age, and you know how to process that hardship, it's like a breakup. A dude that's never been in a relationship until he's 36, 37, going through his first heartbreak.
That's going to hit hard.
That's going to hit hard. That's getting close to the midlife crisis, first heartbreak. I mean, that's just... So when you have it at the age of 18, 19, yes, it's painful as hell. But once you gain that experience, your whole life outlook changes. You go into every other relationship going forward with a totally different attitude. Yeah,
it's just learning. It just is. Like,
100%.
Yeah. Learning people, learning dynamics, and then just understanding that things don't work out. Things just don't always happen how you want them to happen in relationships, in jobs, education, hobbies, whatever. Like, it doesn't always work out. So being able to accept it, which is something even I'm still terrible at, and I think everybody has moments where they're still terrible at it. But the more it happens to you, the better it gets, and that's pretty nice about it, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know who said this, but someone said once, it's not what happens to you in life that determines the rest of your outcome. It's how you respond to what happens. Yeah. And then Winston Churchill said, I believe, that success is moving from failure to failure without any loss of enthusiasm. I believe something along those lines. It's carrying yourself with an optimistic attitude, not a naively positive attitude. No, because you can be naive. You can be too positive. Jim Rohn actually used to say, Jim Rohn is a personal development coach that I massively look up to. He said once, motivation alone isn't enough, because if you have an idiot and you motivate him, now you have a motivated idiot, basically. So, but moving with an enthusiastic attitude means that, okay, I've been through shit. However, I believe that tomorrow will be better than today. And it's just taking it one day at a time. Yeah. But I'm fascinated by your dynamic when it comes to people, because that's a rare skill. And I wanted to highlight it on today's podcast. This man has the ability to strike up a conversation with everyone. And I don't think you realize how valuable that skill is. That's a tremendously powerful skill. There's so many people that walk with their head down, hands in their pockets. If anyone catches a glimpse of them, they almost run away into the bushes, right? They disappear. Whereas with you go out there and you introduce yourself to people. And this skill not only helps you make friends, but it also accelerates your success when it comes to business and career and things like that, because you seem a lot more approachable than most people. And so people want to...
I appreciate that.
No, honestly, nice. It's a powerful, powerful skill, man, because when I look back at when I was 18, 19, I didn't have that. And when I developed that skill, I noticed how powerful it was because of the opportunities it created for me. So for you to have it at such a young age is absolutely incredible. And I want you to realize that right now. But where did you get that from? Because, man, some people have it and some people don't. With you have it.
I have no idea. absolutely no idea. I'm sure that there was something, but I was very, very, very socially okay. Okay, I felt very socially awkward. I think what it is it's I'm very good at covering up how awkward I feel. I think I've always been very socially awkward. Just I guess that's just it. But I think it's been very easy. Like in school, felt very uncomfortable around a lot of people. Didn't really like. I did feel like a little bit like oh no, I can't do that. Do you know what I mean? But I've always been very loud, and I think it's very easy for me to just like. I don't even know. Like just put on and be loud. Be someone that can communicate, even if I do feel a little bit like shriveled up and things like that, or I am uncomfortable with a situation. Most of the time I can like carry myself out, especially environment. Like in the gym, I am very talkative because I feel very comfortable there.
Why is that? Why do you feel comfortable in the gym?
I've been doing it for so long, and also because I'm friends with so many people there. Like I can walk into the gym every single day, and there is not a single day that I've been in the last year or so that I haven't seen someone I know, because I have just made a lot of friends there.
That's what I'm saying. Because of that skill that you have. Yeah,
I did that on purpose as well. I can't lie. Because in my last gym when I lived in Northampton, I had like a group of friends, and we got on really well and things, and it was really nice just having a group of people to support you when you're going for big lifts, and you know, someone that you trust to give you a spot instead of asking a stranger and things like that. If you are familiar with people, you don't have to have awkward like weird interactions. When I came to this gym, obviously I didn't know anyone, and I literally came out with the impression of doing that, and that is why I know so many people here, because and it's like, I don't want to say like I built a community, because I didn't, like, and most of the people that I met are through mutuals, but just by having those first couple conversations with people and getting to know people, you get exposed to so many more people. Like I met you through Sammy, who's also been on here, hasn't he?
He has been,
yeah. So it's like, it's things like that. It's amazing. Like, and you never know what opportunities are going to come. I never would have thought I'd be sat on a podcast with this beautiful setting over here.
Oh, come on now. Only the best of my guests.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Like, this happens.
Well, exactly.
Just
this is a great example.
And meeting people. And that's it.
This is an absolutely great example for sure. I mean, you never know what opportunities will come from just saying hi.
Yeah.
You know, and how nice some people are. You know, because some people look really, you know, how can I put it? Rough and closed up and maybe sick of life, but when you actually say hi, man, you're looking like a tank, whatever, which you do very well. You compliment people,
yeah,
right?
Man.
And you see the light in their eyes. Oh, thank you, bro. And then you get into conversation, and then, you know, obviously though, as you mentioned, when it comes to the gym, they'll help you with your lifts and stuff, but also, you know, other things that may come from it as well. Because I think it's something you have to do deliberately.
Yeah.
You know, like you got to deliberately say, okay, I'm going to go and introduce myself to this person, because, you know, the only way you can overcome that fear is to confront it head on.
Yeah.
If you say, maybe, let me wait for a better day when it's quieter. And it's like when you see a really beautiful girl and your mind has that, there's two voices in your mind. The voice of, but maybe she's listening to something in her with her AirPods and she doesn't want to be bothered, or maybe she's reading a book and she's studying for an exam. Maybe I don't want to distract her. Listen, and then there's another voice that's like, yeah, but you may never see her again. You know, stop being a little bitch, go up to her and say hi. You know, see, there's that sort of the two conflicting voices.
I could use some work on that part, to be fair.
Yeah, well, to this day, we all have that. Honestly, to this day, I mean, there are some women genuinely that when you see walk in front of you, like, oh my God, that is an angel right there.
It does happen every now and again. Like, it does, man. Like, I feel like I could literally pinpoint the last time it happened. Like, you know, there's very like pretty people quite often, but you know, there's every once in a while there's someone and you literally look at them, you're like how? What?
That's a good question. What? How?
I remember my last time. I was at the train station. I remember it.
It's always at a train station or in London, in the tubes. Every time I go to London, I'm sat in the tube. I always see a woman that I'm like, I'm going to marry this woman. And then I'll never see her again. Yeah.
It's all in your head.
It's all in your head. You've got a whole life played out, the house, white picket fence, the dog, and then you never see her again.
She's got a husband with kids anyways. You never know. But you don't know, to be fair.
You never know. And to be fair, like when I used to go to London quite a lot, every time I told myself, every time I see a woman that genuinely I'm attracted to, I'm going to go and say hi. And there's been several situations where I've done that. There was a Russian lady who said she was married. She showed me her ring. I didn't see the ring. Another lady who was Japanese, beautiful, beautiful lady. We got talking for about 5-6 minutes, and then my outcome wasn't, oh, I need to get her number and stuff. I said, hey, it was a pleasure meeting you. See you later. You know, sometimes you got to go into it with no specific outcome in mind, but deliberately get yourself out of your comfort zone, because you'll change. You'll become a completely different person. It's like the gym, right? Why do we go to the gym? To seek failure, right? We go to the gym to deliberately seek failure on a consistent basis. Why do we not get discouraged whenever we can't lift the last rep? Because we know on the way to that last rep, we're doing some damage to our muscles, which is going to help them grow.
Yeah.
But people don't adopt that mindset in anything else that they do in life. If it's creating content, they think, oh, my first video did shit, my second video did shit, and then they stop. But in the gym, they keep going. Why is that? You know, so it's a case of applying the same principles that you apply in the gym to other areas of your life. But speaking of the gym, you said you've been going to the gym for ages now. I mean, you're 19. When did you first start training?
Yeah, man, it's been nearly 3 years now. So I'm 19 now. I started when I was 16. Yeah, man, I remember literally I did it on a whim, actually. Wait, what's your question? Why did you start a gym? I completely bypassed it in my brain. I can't lie.
It? Why did you start it?
Yeah. So I was 16. And so I think I've always really wanted to be like fit, like always. But I've never really like actually properly sought to go on about it. Like I've done the 5-minute ab workouts in my bedroom at like 12 o'clock at night. I think most people have been there, which is like, that's a rite of passage really. But yeah, I think the reason I actually started going to the gym was because my girlfriend at the time had cheated on me, and I was absolutely heartbroken. I was fuming, and I was like, right, 6 months of training, I'm going to be huge. I'm going to get back at her. She's going to regret it, and then I'm going to reject her when she asks me. That was 100. That's
the scenario every guy plays in his mind, isn't it?
I have no shame in admitting that was the exact reason I started. 100%.
Yeah.
Like literally, like I thought about it, and then my mate was like, oh, like I'm gonna start going, come with me. And then that was it, man. We went together like every single day pretty much, and like chucked ourselves straight in it. I'm surprised that it actually worked out as well as I did, because I think when most people start coming in 6 days a week and doing all of this intense stuff, usually setting yourself up for failure because you're exposing yourself to too much too soon. I have no idea how I actually got through that stage, because on paper what I did was destined for failure, but somehow I think it's just because I really loved it. Like I get very passionate about things I like, so when I like something I will do it to death, and I have no problem in just going all out. So I think that's really what carried me through, I think, from the start, to be fair.
And when you say, you know, you just liked it, was it more so the environment of being in the gym, or was it the results that you noticed, or was it a bit of both? Yeah,
it's just a combination of everything. Obviously, you meet lovely people from the gym, and then you know, I do quite a lot of strength training. So when I'm getting ready for like a 1 rep max, or I'm prepping, when you actually hit that 1 rep max and all your mates are there to see it, it's one of the best moments of your life. Like I swear, like top 10 memories of my life is when I hit my 200 kilo deadlift. There's like 30 people behind me in the gym, all watching me, screaming at me to get the weight up. And like obviously getting that and everyone cheering at you, like that's a feeling that I don't think I'll ever be able to replicate. It's so fun and it's so nice. So I think it's just that, and then the steady progress as well. Like I think when you start the gym, you're thinking about being massive, big end goal, like whatever. But I think when you're like when you get over that phase and you realize that's not how it works, it's not going to happen in like 6 months. This is a long process. You then start to appreciate the little achievements that you make and the micro changes you see. Like when I got my first stretch mark, that's brilliant. Time of my life.
Oh really?
Yeah, just because, you know, like obviously I've grown, like and my because I started off very skinny, so I've grown enough muscle that my skin has had to stretch to stay there. Like that's a great achievement. Loved it. It's those kind of achievements that make it worth it, I think.
Oh absolutely. And then do you think it evolves over time as well? So what you end up enjoying from going to the gym changes? So maybe in the beginning it's, oh man, my chest looks huge. You look at my pecs, they can dance. Look at my biceps. And then after a while, it's like, it's as you mentioned, the smaller wins, but also maybe what it does to other areas of your life as well, because you start carrying yourself differently. People start saying, oh, you look good in your clothes and this and this.
Yeah.
Do you think that evolves with time? Yeah,
it does. It does, definitely. And I think it just depends on your personal experiences and what you're doing. But like when I started, I was like, right, 6-pack, huge body, whatever. That's what I want. I want all the girls. I was 16. Like, I'm going to allow myself and say that was fine because I was 16.
That's fine, guys. It's all right.
You know what I mean? Like, we'll bypass that.
Yeah.
Now, I want to lift the heaviest things that I can possibly. I want to see how far I can take my body and how much it can withstand. That's at the moment, that is my focus. That's what I want. I reckon whenever I hit my peak and I become like 30 or something, maybe I'll start running or something. I don't know, but it'll change, because when you like just through life experiences, I might find a new sport or something that I decide, I have to train this way in the gym to accommodate to be better at that sport. Like, you box sometimes, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're like, if you were gonna do some specific training for boxing, that's going to be way different to someone who's out running. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's just, it changes all the time, 100%.
And what would you say to someone who's maybe 16 right now and is like, oh, I'm nervous about going to the gym. What shall I do? Where do I begin?
Bro, just do it, man. Literally just do it. Just show up. That is, like, you don't have to sit there and, like, know all the answers. There's no best workout. There's no best diet. There's no best structure. It is all dependent on you as an individual. And the only way you're going to find that out is through trying. And that's the other thing as well. Try everything. Do everything you possibly can, because that's what I did. I tried every single exercise, every single variation, and I figured out this works well for me, this doesn't work well for me. You're only going to know that through trying. So number one, just do it. Just go. And I think everybody says that, like, just go and just do it. But, like, just do it. It is literally that easy. Go with a friend as well.
That's a good
one. Go
one.
with a friend. You'll be motivating each other. Then you're going to have to go on a couple of sessions by yourself. Use those sessions to figure out what works for you, what feels the best, what gives you the most satisfaction. Different types of training are going to be more fun for different people. It's a long process, but the first thing is go, and then just try as much as you can, be open to new experiences. And then from there, you'll guide yourself. Like, the rest of it happens. Like, that's how it was for me. I tried all this new stuff. I was like, right, I like strength training. That's the thing that gives me the most joy. How do I do better at that? And then I found, I read papers and I watched YouTube videos. I watched so much stuff and I tried it all out. It's just figuring it out. But that only came from just going. That was it. And it only took like 6 months for me to be like, this is what I want to do now. Now I'm going to dedicate everything to that. That was it.
No, that's really good advice. I fully agree. I don't think it's wise to overthink it, especially at the age of 16, 17. You know, I know there's a lot of YouTubers now that are promoting their workout plans and stuff, and a lot of these guys are roided out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe they're really young as well, 18, 19, and these youngsters look at these guys and think, man, but I don't look anywhere near as good as this guy. You know, what if I stand out in the gym as skinny or whatever, fat or whatever? So what would you say to someone like that? Because there is a lot of bullshit on YouTube.
100%. Nobody's living the same way that they portray online. Like, all of these people that you look up to, either the top 1% genetically, which is just facts as well. Genetics is a massive part to play in sport. And it sucks, but that's true. And also, like a lot of the big social media influencers, they've got steroids all on them, and they've, you know, like, they've got, like, a lot of other people as well. They've got coaches, they've got like personalized chefs and things to do specific diets. If you're just a 16-year-old that's just going to the gym after school or like college or something with your mates, it's not the same. Like, if someone's, first of all, there's people that dedicate their life to this, and second of all, there's people that lie. Like,
that's true.
There's so many people that are like, yeah, I'm natural. Yeah, this happened just like on a whim. No, it didn't. Like, it's not true. It's not true. I'm preaching all of this stuff. I'm probably going to go home and play my PS5 tonight. Like, I'm not, like I can say as much good advice as I can, but like, I'm still going to be a normal person as soon as I leave. And that's the same for social media. Everybody else is just a normal person, and they're going to lie for their own gain. That's how it works. Like,
100%.
Shock factor sells. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Controversy, you know, definitely gets attention, and then these people monetize that attention.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some good figures out there that will be upfront and honest and say, yeah, I'm not natural. I do take steroids or whatever or human growth hormone or whatever. And I can appreciate that, but it's what I don't appreciate is, as you mentioned, people that say, no, I'm natural, but they're not, and it's very clear that they're not, because you can see the signs of drug abuse all over their body. I think with steroids, it's acne all over the back and chest. You can see that this person, especially when you see the sudden shift in physique in the course of like 6 months to a year. It's like you see a picture from a year ago and this person was like 60 kg and now they're like 85 kg, 7% body fat. It's like, that ain't no way that's real. Do you know what I mean? And
100%.
I don't like, pulling the, you must be on steroids cards, because there are genuinely natural people that get called that, or they get those comments all the time. Oh, you must be on roids. And it usually comes from people that are just upset at themselves. Maybe they let themselves go physically. And so it's the cheap insult, isn't it? Oh, you must be on steroids. It's like, well, no, this person is very disciplined. And I think a lot of people just don't have an understanding of the human body and nutrition to know that someone can look like he's taking steroids just because he's very disciplined with his body and his training.
100%.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of stuff that you won't see, because obviously social media for the most part is just highlights. Like, you're not going to show people the sad parts of your life, and also bearing in mind, the only time you do see like the videos where they're like, I went through all of this hardship to get to this, there's still that positive thing. Nobody's going to show you just a video of them failing without having that backup of, but here's where I succeeded. It's all the highlights of your life. Not even in gym, just casual families and stuff. They're going to post their holiday pictures when they're out living their best life. They're not going to post the pictures of, them sat at home doing nothing. It's all the best thing that they can possibly portray. That's all it is. So,
and that makes people feel miserable, because they feel like that person's happy all the time and I'm not. Something's wrong with me. It's never going to be like that. There's a lot of boring days, especially with gym, all the time. Boring. Sometimes. That's true. But you have to do those to get the satisfaction at the end. And that's 100%.
Yeah.
Boring is good. People need to understand that boring means that you're disciplined.
Yeah. And you need to be okay with boredom, because you're not always going to be stimulated all the time. You have to be okay with having a bit of downtime, or having a bit of time where you're just like twiddling your thumbs. Like, you have to be okay to be able to deal with that. The more comfortable you are with that, the easier it is when boredom is forced upon you. Like, if you're constantly fighting to get stimulated, and whenever you are bored, there's going to be a point where you're in a car and your phone dies and you're literally feeling like your life's over, because you've got nothing, you've got no experience with boredom. Like, you need to take a step back sometimes, and also just be okay with like your daily routine. Not every day is going to be a big day. Sometimes you just got to get a day done. That's that.
Man, you're hitting on some important points right there, man. People want constant stimulus. Their dopamine receptors are fried. They scroll through TikTok every day, laughing, giggling till 3 a.m. and then they're like, oh shit, I got to wake up for 6, and then they wake up the next day tired. We've all been there. I've been there myself. And they think, my day's boring. That means it's bad. No. I mean, there are people that are praying to have your life. Genuinely.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like it's a very ungrateful attitude to be like, oh, man, all I did today was drive to the gym in my Mercedes C-Class, work out, in a nice air-conditioned gym with my friends, and then come back home, and then I couldn't find a film to watch. It's almost like how... You know what I'm saying? Like, you're detached from reality. And I can understand, like, even the rich can often feel down.
Yeah.
But I had a guest here once called Zain Khan, very successful businessman, and we touched on the point of gratitude and, depression and things like that. And he said what helps him process that is looking down. Not looking down as in, oh, this person's beneath me, but looking at those who are less fortunate than you and thinking, man, I have it good. Sometimes you need that reminder. Sometimes you need that reminder. Like, there were periods in my life where I had a car that I used to fucking hate. It would break down on me, and then I'd have to get a bus for a while. And then whilst I was on the bus, I'd be thinking, man, that fucking car, as much as it was a pain in the ass, man, it's way better than being on this bus, right? But then also, there were times where, I couldn't get a bus because there was no route to get to a place that I needed to get to. So I had to either get a lift from a friend, and then when I did start getting on buses again, I thought, you know what, man, at least this bus takes me from A to B.
Yeah.
You know, and I could be on my phone. And even recently, I mean, I was driving recently and I thought, you know what? I kind of there's elements of being on the bus that I miss. Like not having to focus
attention.
on driving,
Yeah.
and just being able to catch up on shit that maybe I couldn't catch up on last night, or or listening to a podcast. Obviously, you can do that whilst driving, but there's a few things that being in a bus with your headphones in, looking outside, that are quite nice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's why I can
sure.
understand why the rich like to be driven around, because they leave the headache to someone else and they just sit back and maybe watch a movie or have a chat with someone. And so, yeah, no, that's something that I really believe in, man. It's, as much as you might think your life is boring, there's a lot of positives in the boring routine.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know what I mean?
And then, like, even so, sorry, I think I cut you off there.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, even so, like I think for me, my version of that is I always like I said, I've not always been in the fortunate situation I am, even though sometimes the routine is boring. It's way better than what it has been, and I can openly look and reflect and be like, you know, yeah, this sucks. I'm bored, or I'm feeling a bit sad right now. Things didn't go my way, but equally, I have experienced times where I felt much worse, and I can look and reflect on that and be like, yeah, like this is how I felt at one point. Like, even though this sucks right now, you know, chill a little bit with the complaining about it, because like I myself have experienced much worse. Even like not even necessarily like the worst things ever. It's just that even certain inconveniences. It's like, yeah, but it's been worse. It has been worse, and you can deal with that. Like, it's something that you can get through. If you can get through that, you can get through the minor thing that's bothering me today.
I fully agree with that. Yeah, that's powerful stuff right there, man. Sometimes you forget how bad things were.
Yeah.
And one thing I like to say is you have survived 100% of your bad days.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Your track record when it comes to going through your bad days is flawless, because you're still here.
Yeah.
So you've had terrible days that you thought, oh man, I'd never recover from this, but you did. You're here now. So your track record is flawless. And so that's comforting to a lot of people, because they're like, oh, actually, that's true. I am still here. So, you know, I can overcome anything. You know what I mean?
Use that.
Yeah, man, honestly, it's like, when I first heard that, I was like, oh, wow, that is so true. There were days where I thought, man, there's no way out of this. But then I found a way. So I think people just have to trust that the dots will connect in their future. At some point, things will connect. And that's why I like your attitude of just being like, you know what, I'm enjoying this right now. I'm having a lot of fun. Let's see where the future takes me.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
That removes such a burden off your shoulders of having to figure out what's going to happen 6 years down the line. Because I used to overwork my mind and stress unnecessarily when I was young, when I was around your age, not knowing what the future had in store for me. A lot of people going to uni, similar sort of situation for me. I was in a warehouse at the time with a high visibility jacket, stacking shit. And I thought, man, where the fuck am I going to be at 26, 27? And I'd really stressed myself thinking over it. And I'm like, I'm 19. Why am I thinking about 8 years from now? Let me just figure out the next month, and then 6 months, and then a year, and then, you know, things will somehow connect. And, you know, in my case, for example, not having a formal qualification, bouncing around from one job to the next, I just had this inner belief that somehow something will happen. And, you know, a lot of people were telling me, Ali, just go back to uni, get a degree, whatever. But I thought, you know what, no, I'm going to go my way. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do it. This is why I always tell people the how doesn't matter.
You can figure out the how.
Exactly.
As long as you've got the what, like what it is you want, the how can come, but you need that what. And then after that, like, yeah, you can figure out the how 100%.
Yeah,
easy.
Exactly. And, you know, you'll become better as time goes on. So your ability to solve problems will improve.
Yeah.
So you'll naturally solve that. But it's like the gym, right? In the beginning, I like what you said about try everything. Because it's not important to know exactly how to do it the first time you go. Try everything, do it bad. You know, like there's a saying, right? You're bad before you're good, and good before you're great. So be bad in the beginning. Give yourself the permission to be bad.
Yeah,
I think with the gym, a lot of people are worried, like, oh, shit, I'm going to look funny as hell doing this. Like, I can't.
Oh, yeah.
And you've probably seen some people like poor form in the gym.
Yeah, it's a learning curve though, isn't it? Like, you have to do that. Like, if the thing is as well with the gym and any sport is like, the reason that being so, like, you know, big and muscular, or being the top of your form in a sport of whatever sport you're interested in, the reason it's seen as something of high value is because it's hard to obtain. if everybody could come into the gym, do a couple press ups, and then just get wham, like it would not be perceived as something that's valuable. Whereas, you know, because it is a long process, because it does take time, it takes knowledge, it takes trial and error. There's a lot of components that add up to that end goal. That's why it's perceived as something that's of high value. So yeah, allow yourself to be bad at it, because you have to be bad. It's the same as anything. To be good, you've got to start at the bottom. If you could literally just, if it was pay to win and you could just spend 30 quid and get muscles injected into you, the value of it's lost. So you have to allow yourself to be at that beginning stage, and you have to accept it and be okay with it, and just be excited for what's going to come, because it gets better. It gets so much more fun. Like, yeah, it does. It's great.
That is true. Yeah, being excited about it is a good thing to advise people on, because have fun. I think people worry so much on the strategy that it takes the fun out of it. If you're so focused on exactly how everything will work, you lose the fun. But when you're like, man, I'm going to go there, I'm going to chat with my boys, I'm going to hit a good pump in, we're going to crack jokes.
Just enjoy it. Just do what makes you happy right now. Quote of the day.
There you go. I love write this down, ladies and gents.
Yeah, write it down. That is the. Don't write down Jacob's mum, but
write down, do what makes you happy, and then Jacob's mum.
Please don't write that down. I swear, if she ever sees this, I will cry. I can't deal with that.
To give her flowers, right? You need to recognise that powerful bit of advice right there.
Oh, yeah. No, so, it's good. It's good advice.
So with the gym, as you started to improve your physique, you know, what aspect of improvement was really powerful for you? What connected to you the most? So for example, when I was training, just seeing how I was able to do other things better as a result of my physique changing. Like, for example, training boxing was more powerful. I could punch harder. For you, noticing those strength gains, how did it make you feel outside of the gym?
Outside of the gym? I mean, no, it makes me feel pretty great, to be honest. I think as someone that has gone from the skinny to, like, I'm going to say muscular, skinny to muscular transition. As
a unit.
Yeah, absolute beast, honestly. Why am I not bodybuilding? I don't know.
Don't let that hoodie fool you guys. Yeah, underneath that hoodie.
Yeah, to be fair, it actually hides it pretty well. Yeah, anyways. We're, coming from someone that was very, very weak, very small, very skinny. I gained 26 kilos since I started going to the gym. So, wow. Like, imagine this height, but with like 26 kilos, that is awful. So going from someone that genuinely, like, I wouldn't say I struggled on a day-to-day basis, because I didn't put myself through any physical activity where I would suffer, because I obviously chose to avoid it. But just having, like, you know, like, I mean, it's annoying, but when my family can't lift furniture and they ask me to do it and I can do it great, that's pretty nice. It's like, it's just nice to have like that little advantage, and it's cool because I know that I earn it as well. Like, it seems like something so simple, but it's like even just like being able to lift things, or having things that you use, like, I used to work at McDonald's, so when I did like the warehouse part where we'd like take the deliveries in and things like that, like genuinely the first time I did it and the last time I did it, there was actually a big difference in improvement. It's those little things, it's those minor victories just outside. You notice those changes. I feel like you notice them more than the ones in the gym, because they catch you by surprise. And that's pretty cool. Yeah, those kind of things are pretty nice.
100%. I fully agree with that, man. I think people need to remember that what you do in the gym, and it all starts with health. Because if you're poor with your nutrition and with your workouts, then that's going to seep into other areas of your life as well. You're going to feel tired doing the basic shit, like loading, unloading the car, walking up a flight of stairs, going on a holiday. You're going to find yourself out of breath quite easily when you're walking around Rome or some shit, right? So, like, it all starts with health. That's why there's a great quote called that goes along the lines of everything affects everything. Yeah. No one thing is useless. Everything affects everything. So when you're in the gym and you're working out consistently and you're eating a good diet, you're going to reap the rewards of that outside of the gym. Even in terms of creativity, like, one of the massive advantages for me that I noticed of working out consistently and eating a good diet is just how creative I felt. Like if I didn't go to the gym for a month and I was eating shit, I felt like my creativity was just out of the window. My mind was foggy. And that's why I think a lot of people, when they're out of the gym for so long, just even mentioning going to the gym is, oh God, you know, and they don't seem like themselves, like their most authentic self. Like I feel like you find the most authentic version of a man or a woman is when they actively take care of their health, because then you see the vibrancy and you see who they really are. It comes out, their real personality.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's a combination of health and just hobbies and interests in general. I think when if I spend a day, obviously, like, you know, I've got to work, I've got to do things like that, but if I can, those days where I get to spend days, like I really love music, really into listening to music, if I get to have a day where maybe I have to go to work and I have to go to college or whatever, but I get to listen to an album that I like and I get to go to the gym, like having, like, doing those things that you love and like and actively actively just doing those things, that does just make you feel more fulfilled on a day-to-day basis. If you can spend a decent amount of time doing those things, you're going to feel more happy as a person. If you're locking yourself in, forcing yourself to do only the things you don't want to do, it's not going to be as much of a, you're not going to feel yourself, you're not going to feel as creative, because you're not going to want to unlock that side, because you've not granted yourself any, you know, any luxuries and any happiness there. You've just given yourself like things you don't want, just boring. Like,
no, that's so true. I think a lot of people are paranoid that if they allow themselves any form of pleasure, then they're going to suddenly become unproductive and they're going to turn into a weaker version of themselves.
That's a big thing.
It's a paranoia, well. I feel.
It is. I feel like people, especially like, I feel like, you know, like obviously like Andrew Tate and things like that, like when all of that stuff's come around, I think a lot of people have not even listened to like some of the advice they've seen. They've seen Big Businessman and they've gone, right, okay, I have to act this way, I have to do these things, and in order to, like, especially again, everything on social media is exaggerated, it's not real. When you see those videos of those millionaires, day in the life of a millionaire, they're waking up at 4 a.m, they go on a jog, they do an hour of emails, then they eat their breakfast. This does not happen. It's not real. They don't do it. It's not true. So if you sit there and you're like, right, okay, no, I've got to do all of this before I can grant myself that luxury, you're going to burn out and you're going to feel like rubbish, because nobody does it. It's not true. Like, yeah.
Did you know a guy called Alex Hormozy? The guy in the tank top, beard, gives great advice on YouTube, Instagram. I know you're not that active on social media.
No, I am active. I just don't post.
Okay, so
I watch everyone else.
You've definitely seen him.
I feel like I know. I feel like I
He's
might
been
have
on a
watched
few
him earlier.
podcasts with Chris Williamson, a few other guys. Long beard, tank top.
Yeah, I know the name. I definitely know the name. Yeah.
Yeah, because he said something along the lines of what you just said right there about people looking at, for example, a millionaire's day in the life routine right now and thinking, oh, I need to copy that. But that wasn't the routine that got him to where he is now.
Yeah.
So you're emulating what he's doing now, but not what he did to get there. You know, a lot of the journey involved sleeping too much, because maybe they were so knackered from working all week, or maybe not sleeping enough. You know, 2 hours or 3 hours on certain occasions. That's not healthy. Of course, it's not. But this whole idea of work-life balance, and you see these guys red light therapy, drinking their, you know, protein shake, whatever. That's not what they were doing when they were on the come up. Yeah. A lot of it was imbalanced. It was too much in one direction, and it was unhealthy in some cases. So we want to emulate that, but that's not, and I fell for that as well. You know, when I was 19, 20, 21, and I was scrolling through social media, I thought, man, I need to copy this guy's routine. There was a period of time where I was waking up at 3 a.m. every day thinking, man, this is what it takes to win. Man, I felt like I was going to die.
Yeah.
Honestly, I
felt
surprised. Awful. And I remember actually driving home one day, and I'd been doing this for about 6 days. And I was sleeping in my car, like I was driving and like losing consciousness. Right?
That's awful.
Because I fell for that stupid advice of, man, you gotta, you know, you'll sleep when you're dead, and corny quotes like that, right? And I took that seriously, and I think that's why it's important, in my opinion, to share a healthier approach. I don't claim to have all the answers, and this is why I have this podcast, so I can get people on who sharing interesting philosophies in life, and even if it seems like boring advice, I think sometimes that's the best advice.
Yeah, not every
because the
advice is going to be
outlandish,
fun.
you know, oh, if you don't have a Bugatti, you're poor kind of thing. That's, what color is your Bugatti, right?
Yeah.
Mine's going to come soon, right? It's black Bugatti, okay? But
Yeah.
know, that,
matching suit and everything.
of course, man. It's got to be that Batmobile look, right?
One day.
Soon come. If you all subscribe and like this video, right?
That's good.
But that's the thing, man. I mean, if you take the most outrageous bit of advice and you try and implement it, and you think, man, this is going to change my life, it probably won't. It's just what gets the attention and the clicks and the views. It's doing the boring shit, as we spoke about, consistently over a sustained period of time. Over 10 years, 20 years. Like, if you can stick to it for that long, then, I mean, you can become a remarkable human being. And 36, 37 sounds really old, but it really isn't. You've got guys like Mike Thurston now, who's crushed it. You know who he is, right? The fitness guy living in Dubai at the moment.
Yes. No, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably the biggest male fitness British influencer at the moment. He's done really well for himself, and I think he's 36, 37. If I'm not mistaken, he might be younger. I think he is younger. But a lot of guys fear getting to 30 or mid 30s, and oh my god, I'm finished, and this, and they in their 20s, they're panicking about running out of time. And I'm like,
I'm terrified about 20, to be honest.
Man, you still haven't even entered 20. You're 20s
I'm terrified.
yet.
My age is going to start with a 2 at the end of this year.
Man.
That is disgusting.
Welcome to adulthood.
No, I don't like it. I want to go back.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a great decade. And I think if you approach it with the mentality of, man, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to try lots of shit. This is why a lot of older folks, and I'm always intrigued by old couples and just old people in general, because some of them are really miserable because they didn't do what they wanted to do when they were young, and some of them lived a full life and they tried everything. And so I always like to ask them for pieces of advice and stuff, and the common theme from the conversations I've had with a lot of old people is go out there and try as much as possible. You'll never regret the things that you do try, but you'll always regret the things that you don't try, because then you'll have that what if conversation with yourself for a long time.
Yeah, and it's that unknown as well. That unknown will eat people up inside. 100%. Like it will. It does it to me. There's so many things that I wish I did, wish I did differently, and like hindsight's 2020. But like there are certain things that I'm like, man, if I did try that, maybe I could have done this. It could have worked out better. I could have been this different scenario. This could have been more fun. But like that's why now I do make a conscious effort to try as much new stuff as I can. I'm trying to understand more about the things that I have those interests in. Like, again, instead of forcing myself to learn all this stuff that I don't care about, I'm like, look, I'm really into gymnastics coaching. I'm really liking it. So now I'm making more of an effort to understand more about the actual sport at the elite level, and just like, looking at the big figures there. I've done the same with bodybuilding and powerlifting, looking at those people because I really like the sport and I take part in it myself, and then just things like that, like just taking that time to learn and understand as much as you can. You're never going to regret that. If you learn it and you don't like it, you'll forget it eventually because it has no value to you. It doesn't matter, but you won't know unless you learn it.
Yeah, and if anything, I always say to people, even if you've been doing something for 6 years and then you change your mind and don't want to do it anymore, you're still a more interesting person for having done it.
Yeah,
more interesting than
sure.
the person that sat on the sidelines and never did anything. Because you ask that kind of person, so tell me about yourself. What do you do? I just sit on the sidelines and complain, basically. Like, that's what kind of a person is that? But if you're like, oh yeah, I did this for 6 years, and then I felt like I needed the change. That's still interesting. Why did you need that change? Tell me about what you were doing before. Like, nobody regrets the 6 years. It's just a case of, it was a good 6 years, but now I want to do something that's more in line with what I'm doing right, or what I'm interested in. And there's a great quote that says, your gift is the thing that you do the best with the least amount of effort. And that stuck with me. And this is why I always say to people who are looking to find the holy grail of money making, because I get asked this question all the time, Ali, what's the best way to make money? Same thing. It's the same kind of question of what's the best workout? Yeah,
it's how do I get to the top the fastest? Like,
yeah, it's like, I need the best. Give me the best. And I'm like, bro, you might be. Everyone's different, right? What works for someone might not work for someone else. And this is why there's no one-size-fits-all approach, right? Same thing for working out. You can't tell an obese person to bulk, for example, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
No,
the
you
least of
can't.
their priorities right now.
Yeah.
So when it comes to money making and like finding your career, I always tell people, go out there, try a lot of stuff, you know, because you don't know what you're going to like and what you don't like. You're still too young. And then eventually you'll find something that you somehow seem to do without being pushed and prodded. And you find yourself doing it for maybe too long at times. And that's the thing that usually will become the most fruitful for you. But sometimes it's not fruitful financially for a while, but you still do it. So pay attention to that. Like if you're still doing it 4 years in and you're not rich, but you somehow are not complaining about the fact that you're not making a lot of money doing it, that's a good sign. Because it means that you get to wake up every day and do what you want to do. You know, and that's a successful life. You know, there's a guy called Earl Nightingale. He has a quote. He defines success as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And it's a bit of a fancy quote, but it's
I was working out in my head there.
Progressive realization of a worthy idea, which basically means whatever's important to you, as long as you're progressing at that, then you're a success. Obviously, there's outlandish characters who peacock on social media and, oh, you need this car, you need that. And that's all great, and that's all for marketing and for clicks. But if you're someone, and I've said this before on videos, if you're a teacher who can't wait to go to school and teach the kids that are in your class, and you love the feeling, and you probably experience this on a regular basis, of joy in their faces when they're able to do something now they weren't able to do 3 months ago.
Oh, 100%.
That is a feeling that you can bottle up and almost relive every day because, you know, it's what you do. And that's a success right there. That's someone who gets to wake up every single day and do what he wants to do. So I love that, man. And this is what I tell people right now. Don't focus on the best way to make money. And, you know, all those questions, I get it. You know, you look at your friends and, oh, he's doing drop shipping, he's doing Forex, he's doing this. But, you know, your lane will emerge once you start trying loads of shit. Your lane will start uncovering itself. You know, oh, I guess this is the thing that I should stick to.
Yeah, man. No, you will figure it out, man. Honestly, like looking at everybody else and obsessing over because they're living this outlandish lifestyle and this is something that you know, this is fantastic. I really want this. Like, just because they've done it their way doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You know, you've bust out a million quotes today. I feel like, have you done this one? Comparison is the thief of joy. That's a good quote that I like about that one. You've done a lot of quotes there. I've got to add one in, but that is a factual, absolute, like, that's a statement that is 100% absolute. You know, the people, the times where I've spent, even myself, like, just looking at this person, I want to be this person's got this figured out, that figured out, this, you don't even know them personally. They've got their own problems, but you're looking at this image here and you're like, oh, I want this so bad, and you know, I don't have it, and you'll just beat yourself into an early grave. Like, you'll never think of, like, it'll just, if you only are looking at everybody else, you're never going to realize what you're going to do to get into that situation, and your success is not going to be the same as somebody else's. It's not like, you know, I imagine that the things you're looking at in the future right now are very different to what I'm looking at in the future right now. We've got two different, you know, life experiences, two different careers. We're, you know, at two different ages and stages in life. Like, we're never, like, if I sit there and I go, man, I really want that suit. What can I do to get that suit? Like
I'll give it to you if you want.
yeah. Should we swap outfits?
Yeah, let's do that. I think the day people see me in a hoodie, they're going to be very concerned.
Honestly, like, apart from in gym, I've never seen you outside of a suit.
See, I live it, guys. You know, some people may think, oh, is this guy just wearing it
No,
for
it's
the videos?
real. It's real. That literally, like, never seen it. What can I ask? Why is that?
Man, that's a good question. I like the way it makes me feel.
Yeah.
And I also believe that, especially a suit, it's a timeless look. You know, someone could take a picture of me walking through Milton Keynes, and if there's no new cars in the background or anything, I could just be walking in front of a building, and if they just took that picture and put it in a frame or something, someone might not know what era this photo was taken. Maybe from the quality of the picture, whatever, but as in it's a look that, in my opinion, never goes out of fashion. There's a lot of clothing styles that come and go, you know, the baggy jeans, the ripped jeans, all that sort of stuff. But a suit is a suit. And I feel like it's almost like armor as well. Like, it's this presidential. Why is it every authoritative figure in the world wears a suit? Because it just commands respect. And I wasn't, when I was 19, I worked for a suit company, and that is when the bug hit me.
Yeah,
basically.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Because up until that point, I wasn't thinking about wearing suits. I was wearing anything that I could find, right? And then when I walked in there, I remember walking into that training week with my dad's trousers. I didn't have my own. It wasn't even a full suit. It was like my own blazer, my dad's trousers, and I sort of combined it together. And it looked awful because my dad's trousers were baggy as hell. My blazer was hanging to one side. And then in that week, they taught us about suits and tailoring and this and that. And I was like, man, this is amazing. And then I started wearing a suit because they gave us like a little allowance. So I bought a suit from them. And then, man, ever since, Ali Ben-Hariz always in a suit, walking around. So for me, and I have fun with it. People think, oh, you must be boring. A suit every day, really? Like, are you not uncomfortable?
That's a stupid
Because they
statement.
think people associate wearing a suit with going to work or whatever.
Oh yeah, no, I guess no, you're right.
But it's like take a look at it from a different angle. Look at it from the angle of what? It's a nice bit of tailoring. Women love a man in a suit as well. A man in a suit for a woman is like a woman in lingerie for us. It has the same sort of effect. And I've received countless compliments from women of all ages because of wearing a suit, right? And they're like, oh, I just love a man who just takes care of himself. And it does present a certain image. And I don't do it for people because, as I mentioned, I do it for me because I feel good.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. If doing what makes you happy, if it makes you happy, that is literally all you need. That is the number one thing. And that's the most important thing. Mm-hmm. If it's giving you joy, if people are dissing you for wearing a suit, they think it makes you look boring. That's on them. That's not their problem. It's not their thing to understand.
That's it.
No, I rate it.
And to be fair, speaking of people that get uncomfortable when you present yourself in a bold manner, I think that's another important topic to talk about because a lot of people out there are afraid of being too loud or maybe getting too much attention. Because they're afraid of maybe being seen in a certain way. And it's a very normal fear to have, But why do you think that is? And how do you... Because you're a bold guy, you go out there, you seem to have a no fucks given attitude. How do you develop that? How did you develop that? And were you always this way?
No, absolutely not. Like I think I said earlier, I was very, very self-conscious. I had literally, again, like as you spoke about earlier, I was in that stage where I'm just beating myself up about everything because I'm not satisfied with how I look or how I act or my life situations, things like that. So, that's really, was I always like, I was definitely, I said this earlier as well, I was very quiet, but I could always carry myself in quite a loud manner. I don't think that was something that I did like with confidence. It was more of like a cover up. So because I didn't want to present myself in the way that I felt. I think now I do have a lot more confidence, but I think that's purely just through me understanding that, like in the gym, for example, very confident in the gym. I feel very comfortable there. I think the reason I'm very confident and comfortable in the gym is because I feel like I've earned my stripes there. Like I've spent a lot of time in there. I've made a lot of friends in there and I've had a lot of experiences in there. And it's got me to a position where I am, lifting like top 1% of the world. You know what I mean? Like,
Let's talk about that because this guy is a specimen of human performance.
Oh, God. Sorry,
okay, this guy goes out there and, I see him lifting. Dangerous guy. So tell us about your current fitness goals and how you aim to get there.
So at the moment, like so the way I have it is I break my goals down. I have a big end goal. So let's take my deadlift, for example, because deadlift's my favorite lift. I love that lift. It's fantastic. I'm good at it.
Why? Let's touch on that quickly.
Because I'm good at it.
You're good at it.
Yeah.
But how does what specifically about deadlifting do you like?
I do think it originally stemmed from being good at it, but also it's the one where you can load the most weight. So like, just because of the movement it is, when you're doing a bench press, for example, that's like predominantly your chest, your triceps and your front delts and things. Whereas with deadlifts, it's your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, your back, even like your shoulders and stuff to keep the weight. It's like you can move the most weight there, find that very satisfactory. You know, you see all of that weight gathered on the bar and you lift that up like that. Yeah, it's a good feeling. It's a lovely feeling. So I think that's why I love it the most. And then, yeah, so if we use that for an example, obviously I've got like a big, long end term goal. I think the really big goal I've always wanted to hit is a 300 kilo deadlift. Right now I'm at 200, but I probably could lift more. I just haven't done it yet. So I've just, you know, I break it down into like mini goals, you know, the end term goal, that's what I want to hit. I want to hit that 300. That's a big number, scary. Like, that's not going to be for a while, but you know, just by setting little mini goals in between. So, 5 plates, which is 220 kilos because it's 5 plates. If people didn't know that. So yeah.
Well, there's some Americans watching this right now that don't know kilos.
Oh, yeah. So what would 220 be in pounds?
200.
It's 2.1 pounds in a kilo, something like that. So it'd be like 550, something like that, pounds.
Yeah, that's heavy. Yeah,
something like that off the top of my head. Actually, it might be more. I don't know. But yeah, so the 220 kilos, that's the next goal. It's 20 kilos ahead. I know it's not going to take me too long to get it. I'm nearly ready. You know, I've been training for it at the moment. And then, you know, when I hit that victory, that's going to be a big celebrationary point. And then it's like, okay, now we're going to set another mini goal into 240. Obviously, like, I think that's actually a really important way to go about it as well. Again, we've said like about being obsessed with that end goal is not healthy. Having those little mini goals is what will keep you going through. So for me, it was literally it was a case of, oh, I hit my 100 kilo deadlift. I wonder if I can hit 120. Oh, I hit 120, 140. Those micro goals, you know, because you will hit them every, you know, couple of months and stuff, that will keep you going. It's very motivational, and it still gives you nearly the same level of satisfaction as the big goal that you've set, but you get to hit them quite frequently. So just being able to experience, I set out to do this goal, I put the work in and I've achieved it. And then all of those mini ones will add up to the big one, and then it's amazing. Like that whole approach is a really good way to go about it. I think it's really good. But yeah.
I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
You got to celebrate the small wins, because otherwise you're tormenting yourself unnecessarily. And give yourself credit where credit is due. For sure.
Yeah.
You know, Jim Rohn said it actually. He said the good thing about adding lots of small goals on your list is taking them off when you accomplish them.
Yeah. You know, I do that. I literally have on my phone, I have a list of goals. Some of them are really big ones. Some of them are little. So like, for example, like last year I had like, I want to hit a 200 kilo deadlift as one of my goals. And at the time I was on like 160. So it's like, that's a big goal. You know, that will probably take me to the end of the year, which it did. But I also had things like, I want to do like this weight for this many reps, which I was only a little bit off, but it's like that micro thing. Or like doing my first muscle up. That was another goal that I had. Like being able to tick those off. I've got them in my phone. It's like, that's so satisfactory. And it's great. And even when you have it written down as well, like being able to physically tick it off, like that's, it's a good feeling.
It's a glorious feeling. And how did you start training for these goals as well? Like, did you go anywhere online to try and figure out how to sort of build strength? And because a lot of people are working out the same way for years, and they're not seeing any increase in gains in the gym. Why is that? You
get what's called the permanent intermediate, because you can get yourself up to an intermediate level if you train the way that everybody else trains. That will get you to that level 100%, but you will not get higher, because that's where when you get to that intermediate stage, if you want to get to advanced, that's how you have to start thinking, right, now I need to do something different. And that is where people will branch off from each other. Everybody can do the 3 sets of 10, that will get you to a certain level. But then if you want to take it higher, someone's going to go, right, I really like bench press. I need to put more effort into that. And the other lifts are going to suffer because you have to put that effort into that.
This podcast is very kindly sponsored by the gentleman at Glownode. If you are an aspiring trader who would like to gain access to capital to further progress your trading career, take a look at Glownode. They provide you with several options when it comes to funding. Once you pass your assessment, your evaluation phase with them, you have access to capital ranging from $10,000 all the way up to $200,000 in funding. I've dropped the details down in the link below. All right, we had some technical difficulties, but we are now back. I was talking to you about the plateau that people hit when they're training. So you mentioned it was, what was the phase called?
Permanent intermediate phase.
There we go.
Yeah.
So why do people get stuck in that phase?
I think just by doing the same thing over and over again. Obviously, I think hard to remember where I was at before that.
So you said if someone likes bench, for example, focus on bench, but that will affect other.
They're going to focus on that bench press, and that's where obviously when you get to that intermediate stage, that's where you need to start actually having a look at like different styles of training and different ways to improve. So obviously, for me, I started lifting, I got a decent amount of muscle, and then I was like, right, I want to do strength training, I want to do a little bit of power building, so it's like bodybuilding and powerlifting, a little bit of a combination. So I had to do some research, man. I had to look into it when you have an understanding of what avenue you want to look down, that's when you tend to get a little bit less of like the bullshit on like social media and things. Mm-hmm. So because instead of just like, obviously when people are going to broadcast themselves on social media, they're going to say this is the best workout. Whereas if you're not searching for the best workout, you're searching for good exercises to do for, you know, to increase your biceps or something. I don't know. Like the more niche you go, and especially with the more technical terminology, like when I started looking at strength training and like powerlifting and things like that, obviously you see different types of training, and also like you start to understand why things work the way they do. And I think that's actually another thing as well. The more you understand why things work and why they don't, you'll be able to, not only will you be able to obviously have a better understanding, but you'll be able to freestyle it a bit more as well. Sometimes you go in the gym and there's some annoying person that's on the machine you want, and you're sat there like, well, I can't do anything. But if you have an understanding of how it works, and you know what about the movement you want to do makes it good, you can find something that's a better alternative. And it's those kind of adaptabilities and things like that that will help get you out of that permanent intermediate stage. If you do the same thing over and over again, because, I don't know if you know about this actually, it's quite interesting, I think. Right. So, obviously, when you're lifting, obviously, I'm sure, like, the basic principle is you're shocking your muscles. Your muscles are like, what's going on? I need to adapt to be better at this so I can handle the weight that I'm doing. So they'll micro tear and they'll build back stronger. Yeah. Because your body's natural instinct is survival. If you do the same thing over and over again, it's pattern recognition. So your body's going to go, I've done this trauma before. I've done this. I've experienced this way in this way before, and it will figure out the least. It will figure out a way to accomplish it, burning the least amount of calories and the least amount of energy, and it won't like the least. Yeah, basically just keep your body like as much safe and intact as it can. So what that means is that if you say you do bicep curls, you only do bicep curls for the first couple of weeks, that's going to be fantastic because it's a new stimulus and your body's going to be like, oh my God, this is crazy, I need to adapt. But then it's going to be like, man, I know this movement. I've done this before, done this a million times before. And then you will stop to see any gains from it. The gains will start to slow down and eventually they will stop because there is no new stimulus there. I think that's quite interesting because it is literally just boils down to your body's natural instinct for survival, and it will just force itself to adapt to the point where you won't even notice a change ever again because it just knows what it is now. So you have to change things up as well.
Yeah, that's a very interesting way to look at it. I think people just see the body as just this static thing that doesn't evolve. It's just, if I just do this, if I lift enough weights, it'll grow. But then your body's smart. It understands I've done this before, as you mentioned. So you need to almost find a different way to shock it. And that's why I guess people that do multiple sports tend to have a better relationship with their body because they know if I do this, it'll affect that. There's like a constant feedback loop of, I did this last time, it wasn't so good. My body didn't like it. But this, my body did. Like, I noticed results here, I didn't notice results there. Like, for example, if you're bodybuilding and practicing a combat sport, you notice certain exercises make you a better fighter. It translates, and then certain things don't translate. like certain exercises maybe won't make you as functional as a fighter as other exercises. So I like that point, because it's so easy to get lost in that. I'm going to the gym, woo, you know, and look, everybody goes to the gym for different reasons, but I think if we're all being honest, the main reason is for our body to look good. I know some people go because it's they're outside the house and it's good for their mental health, and that's all great as well. But if we're being honest, we want to look in the mirror and look sexy naked, right? That's the main goal. And if you're not seeing any changes, because I was stuck in that for a while. I mean, I was going to the gym for several years doing the same shit, and I wasn't happy with the way my body looked. And I thought, man, this is unacceptable. What am I doing wrong here? And what I was doing wrong was the same shit. You know, I was eating the same, I was training the same. And then I invested in a trainer at the time because I needed that accountability partner who was telling me, okay, yeah, that's shit. You know, what you're doing there's crap. You know, change this. And I was with him for about 6 to 7 months. I lost a lot of weight when I was with him, and then I adopted the philosophies that he taught me into my own training. But yeah, it's so easy to get lost. So easy. But speaking about that, when you were reading and trying to learn about this, who were your biggest inspirations in the fitness world?
Do you know what? That's a hard question to answer, because my workouts and things are literally composed of a million different people that I've seen. So my workouts are built off of stuff that I've seen on social media. They've built off of papers that I've read of scientists that I don't know the names of, so I couldn't tell you. And they're also built from people in the gym. So a lot of my friends in the gym have been like, oh, I do this, give this a go. And I've given it a go and I've gone, oh, I love this. You know, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. But, you know, obviously the trial and error, which you said earlier, by doing that, I've adapted my workout in to, you know, from a million different people, but it works the best for me. Just taking those little bits off of everyone. I think information wise, there's a guy called Ryan Hummerston, who I think that's how you say his name. He is fantastic. He's very deadpan and very blunt, but he's very funny. He is on steroids, but he is open about it. But what I like about him is he also reads through a lot of papers, and he doesn't go like, oh, this is your best workout to do whatever. He's like, look, I bought this piece of equipment to test electrical impulses in the muscles when you're doing certain movements and things. This is what I've found from this. So, and also he just helps you understand a little bit more about the anatomy and how like the body mechanics work. Like one thing I learned actually very recently, which is, I should have known a lot sooner, but like literally just to do with the size of your limbs and the size you are as a person is going to massively affect how you lift. So for example, I'm very small, which means like squatting and deadlifting are quite easy for me because I don't have to move it as high. I've also got short femurs, which is a mechanical advantage for a squat. If you've got very long femurs, and you can literally test it at your own legs. If you look at your legs, if your femur is very long, top half of your leg, you're going to struggle more than other people just because of how the movement is. And he talks about that in his videos. He's fantastic. I also like this guy. He's the reason I got into power building, so I feel like I should say, is this guy is called Dave Trains. Man like Dave Trains. He's a good combination of like doing things because like scientifically and stuff they really work, and also doing things because they're fun. So like he was really attractive to me when I was like 16 because you know, I'm like, oh, I want to lift this big weight, and I see this guy on my Instagram feed and he's literally lifting like 200 whatever kilos, just like screaming his head off. That was really fun to watch. So I think he's quite fun. He's a very literal thinker and he says things how it is. Ryan Hummerston's really good as well. I think those two people of all the social media people have messed me up the most by the end of my workouts. So those are the people I feel like I should shout out, because when I've tried their exercises and the workouts, I'm like, mate, I'm dying. Like, this is crazy. So yeah, man, 100% those two.
You've taken their advice and you've mixed it up and you've created your own philosophy. And
again, try everything and talk to everyone, because everybody's doing their own different workouts, but you never know what might be useful for you. the only way you're going to find that out is like through talking to people, man. Like literally so many people that we're friends with at our gym have given me tools and ideas that have literally propelled me to the next stage, and I wouldn't have realized it at the time, but I can look back and be like, wow, like if I didn't do that, I would not have been able to do this. Like crazy. So yeah,
this is why it's so important. Yeah, because you know, information changes situations, as they say. Right? Sometimes just the right bit of information at the right time could transform everything for you.
100%.
And this doesn't just apply when it comes to the gym, but I think the gym is a great example because you can see results on yourself pretty quickly, or changes in how you feel.
The newbie gains come in quick. That's fun.
Yeah, exactly. When you're brand new, man, the gains in the beginning, you feel like you're gonna just keep at this rate for the next few years, and it's scary almost. Man, I'm gonna turn into a tank, but it's a glorious feeling. And I think for those that have been out of training for a while, who are like, oh man, I got to get back into it, what words of encouragement would you give them? People that have been there before, they've trained before, they've been out for a year, what would you tell them?
I think just instead of, again, thinking like, oh, like, you know, oh, like, because, you know, I imagine if they've been out for a year, either they've had an injury or they lost the love for it or things like that. Like, don't think about it in this like whole like big picture, like, oh, we need to, like, you know, I need to get back into it to be and go 6 days a week to go train. Like instead of like, I think the reason people will fall out of love with it or they don't want to go back is because they're thinking about the parts that they didn't like. But like, think about the parts that you did like, you know, when you're lifting with your boys, or when you hit that fun PR, or when you notice that first big gain. You can still, even if like, and you don't have to go back and do the exact same way you did before. If you want to take it easy and you want to ease yourself into it, that's fine. Nobody's going to tell you that's a bad idea. Like, do the parts of it that you enjoyed. Do what makes you happy. I've plugged it everywhere. But like, like, you don't have to sit there and be like, oh, I'm just going to train myself and diet again. Like, just go in, just message your boy that you used to train with, or message someone you know and be like, look, let's go have a session, have a little chat, have a bit of fun, and then take it one step at a time. If that went really well, go again, and then go again, and then maybe it'll form again. Who knows?
Yeah, and then you'll find yourself again, and then, you know, the discipline will kick back in. But yeah, a lot of people just worry about doing it perfectly.
Yeah.
But you got to give yourself the permission to do it bad, as I said earlier. You know, and then eventually you'll perfect the form and you'll get better at it. It's the same thing with making content. People worry about, oh, the studio's got to look good, the camera, this and that. I was filming videos in my car for the longest time. I had a shit iPhone 10 that had a blurry front camera. Everyone used to mock me in the comments saying, Ali, did you film this on a potato? But, you know, it worked, man. People were commenting, people were liking the videos, interacting, and, you know, one thing leads to another. But I didn't let something that seemed as a hurdle get in the way of my progress, because I'm going to win no matter what. If my back's against the wall, I'm broke, I've got a shit car, I've got a shit phone, well, that's all I got. So the only way is forwards, right? I'm not going to let this circumstance defeat me. You got to start somewhere. Right? There's a saying, the person at the top of the mountain didn't fall there, right? I mean, you got to take that first step, and the second, and the third, as you mentioned, and eventually the dots will connect and you'll find yourself, and you never arrive. As we said earlier, there's no destination. Because, okay, let's say you hit your 200 kg. Your 300 kg goal, right?
No, as soon as I hit it, I'll be celebrating for about 24 hours, and then I'll be like, right, what's next?
Exactly.
It's a gift and a curse, but that is literally something that I can't even control. I wish I was the person that was like mentally disciplined, and I'm doing this because like I'm forced. I can't. Like, me personally, whenever I hit a goal, I'm like, great, cool, next. And it's weird and it's a bit frustrating sometimes because I'm always looking forward, which is why I have done a lot of work of just like appreciating where I am now and just doing things that make me happy, because it is like, sometimes I hit that big goal and I'm like, right, okay, now we need to go do more. Let's go do this. How am I going to get this next one? I'm like, man, I literally just got here. Like, chill for a second. Like, sometimes I have to remind myself. So yeah, man.
Exactly.
And also what we said earlier, because I thought as well, if you're thinking about coming back to the gym, but you're like also daunted and things because you feel like you're starting from the beginning. But one thing that you are forgetting, you may have gained all the weight back and be the exact same weight. You may be more weight, but what you have now that you didn't have before is all the knowledge and the experience that you had. That is crucial, and you're gonna now speed run all of that time you took the last time to get straight back to that same position, and then you can excel further because of all that knowledge that you gained beforehand.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I need a sound effect, like something. Man.
You go on, so what does that do?
Honestly,
Like,
yeah. I could actually add sound effects onto that as well. I'm gonna have to soon because man, the gems that are coming, man, from this podcast. That's so true. You're not starting from here. You're starting from here.
Yeah,
Because
exactly. 100%.
You've done the initial work of a rookie, of a newbie, and now you're more experienced. Yeah, you might have deteriorated physically, but you can come back and, as you mentioned, with the knowledge that you have now, fast track your success.
100%.
That's so true, man. That applies to so many things in life, man. It really does.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, for real.
Oh man, that's powerful stuff right there, man. So 300 kg deadlift, bench as well. You bench like a motherfucker, don't you?
Bench is my weakest lift. I don't know.
Really? Well, what's weak? Tell the audience. 100
Okay,
kg?
my weakest is 105.
105.
But you have to bear in mind,
that's
I've been doing
strong.
this for a long time, man. And I've been, if anything, I feel like I put more effort into my bench than I do for my deadlift. Because I know with my deadlift, I'm going to get what I want. Every time I do it well. But with bench, I struggle so much.
Bench is hard, man. It's one of those ones.
It is. And for me, it's anatomy. Again, like I've got quite long arms and I've got quite narrow shoulders. So mechanically, I'm very disadvantaged in bench. So like, yeah, the weight is good. But if you look at it in comparison to my other lifts, it's very apparent that I've got something that's lacking. But yeah, man, I still love bench. I'll be benching tomorrow. So yeah, like I still love it, but it's just frustrating sometimes.
And what about in terms of goals for bench? Is there a specific goal in mind, a specific number, or are you just...
Love a 200 kilo bench. Don't know if my body would ever allow me to do that. But again, at the moment, I'm just trying to hit 120. Then I'll think about 140. And it's just, again, those micro goals, it's things like that. And you can manipulate it as well. This is another thing. If you find that setting micro goals really works for you and helps keep you going, you can manipulate it so much because... Like, so when I do my micro goals, so for example, with my deadlift, my big goal is 220 and then obviously 240. That 20 kilos is a couple months, but what's going to happen in between those two is I'm going to get my first 3 times body weight deadlift, which is just a different metric, but it's a different type of achievement. And just that, again, even though it's not that a specific number, just having that achievement, you can manipulate in so many ways. Find all those little micro achievements that you can grant yourself so you can allow yourself to feel like that accomplishment. Like that's something that I've done quite a lot. Just find loads of different ways to have those small victories.
I like that you give yourself credit for those wins, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. Do it. It keeps me going. It does. Because you need it sometimes. Like you really do. So like even like, or even just like the fact that, you know, sometimes I'm benching and last week I got, you know, a set of 6 and a set of 5 and this time I got a set of 6 and a set of 6. It's still 1 rep better. It's the small victories. They add up.
They stack up, yeah. People forget that. People forget that the wins add up and then 7 years go by and you can't believe where you are.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know, like, especially in the gym, it's very normal to go every day and come back home and look in the mirror and think, no, I look the same. But then let time take its course. There's a saying, time will either promote you or expose you, right? Either over time you will be rewarded for your labor or you will be exposed for your lack of effort. And I always remember that every time I feel like slacking and not doing something that I know I should be doing or confronting a difficult task, I always tell myself, Ali, you're going to get older and time will either promote you. You're either going to reap those rewards or you're going to be exposed for your lack of effort. And I never want to have that conversation with myself of why didn't you? I don't want that regret to eat me alive. You know, I want to be able to say, you know what, man, I fucking tried. That's the thing with the gym, that even if you don't manage your 1 rep max that day or whatever, you can go home and still feel satisfied because, man, I fucking tried. At least I showed up. Because I could have said to myself, because I think I saw you the other day and you were like, man, I didn't feel like it today, but you were there. You were there, you showed up. And, you know, a semi good workout is still better than no workout.
Yeah,
right?
man. It's who's that guy? Justin Waller. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
He's the one that was always promoting about shitty workouts. Because it's true, you know, like at the end of the day, you did something, you stimulated your muscles. So even if it wasn't the best session ever, it doesn't matter. Like, you've done something. I think that's crucial, because sometimes, you know, like it doesn't seem like it, because I don't have the same like full-time job as everyone else. But, you know, I've got college and I've got work, and then, you know, still then come into the gym every day. Sometimes it's hard, you know, it is, because I'm exhausted or I've had a bad day and I don't really feel like now pushing myself through that. But it's like, just showing up is the most important thing, because then when I get there, I'm like, well, now I may as well try now. Like,
Exactly, you're there now.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, my friend, he's big into running, and he has this great thing where if he doesn't feel like running, he'll run 5 miles or 10 miles in one direction, and then he'll tell himself, fuck, I got to get back now, so I might as well run back. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things with running especially. It's like, you can, the bigger the distance between you and the starting point, the better it is, because you're forcing, you have to come back. You have to come back, right? So, you know, like, I always say to people, commit first and figure it out later, even if it's doing something that's uncomfortable. For example, and this is maybe an unconventional approach, what's worked for me is overextending in certain situations. So, for example, when it came to YouTube, I knew that, okay, this could become something for me. So I went overboard especially with this studio and these armchairs and everything. I got these custom made. I made sure that everything
custom made. Nice,
yeah, man,
nice.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because what I told myself is, you could either do this the cheap way, the cost-effective way, do it from home, from the comfort of your own home, or you could get a purpose-built environment that is professional, that is, you know, conducive to your long-term success, sets a good first impression, and is an environment that will make you want to work. Like, all of this stuff is unnecessary. I could easily hire a studio for a day for like 50 quid, 100 pounds if I wanted to, and save a ton of money. But I wanted to create an environment that I would be proud of for years to come, which is why I overextended. I invested a lot of money, quote unquote. But I say quote unquote because the goals that I have in my mind, this is nothing. Right? For the person I'm going to become, this is all nothing. This is all necessary. Do you know what I mean? So this is why some people say, even if you're not rich, but you're doing okay financially, you got a job, pays you 3 or 4 grand a month, for example, get a car that's slightly out of your budget, because of how it will change the way you feel about yourself. And this is not financial advice, you know, in terms of like getting into huge amounts of debt for the sake of people's opinions. No, it does something to you. It does. So when I invested in this setup, for example, and I came into this environment every day, I felt proud. I was like, okay, this is good. Now I have to make this work. I can't have all this fancy shit and this nice environment and not make it work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, it triggered this, you have to win now. Every month when I pay the invoice for this space that I've got, it's a reminder. Every time I get that invoice come through, I'm like, okay, you know what?
I like that, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Nice.
It does something to me. Okay, I got to pay this. It would be a damn shame to have this space and not take advantage of it for creating content, podcasts, things like that. So it forces me. Some people do it for the gym. They get an expensive gym membership, like Lloyd's, for example. They spend £200 a month, which seems reckless and seems silly. But for them, it does something. Okay, well, I'm spending 200. I see it coming out, direct debit every month. I might as well go. And when they go,
me, I'd have to go every day, 3 times a day.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, so it's the mindset of commit first and then figure the rest out later. But a lot of people want to figure it first and then begin the process, which is the wrong approach, because you'll never be totally ready. You know, if I was to, when I first started making content 2-3 years ago, if I was to wait for the setup to look nice, I would have never started. You know, I would have never started. So I just started with the circumstance that I was in, with the conditions that I had at the time, right? I was driving around everywhere, and I thought, okay, fuck it, man. Let me just put my camera there. I didn't even have a fucking phone holder. I just leant the phone against my windscreen, and I just started recording, right? And then eventually things start connecting, and this is why what you said earlier really resonated with me about, you know what, I like it right now. Let's see how it goes. Because everything that I have now with my setup, with my growth on social media, that happened because I trusted my ability just to film another day and just go for it again. And I had fun, most importantly. I had fun. I enjoyed it. I didn't think too much about, oh, what's going to happen a year from now with my... I just had fun with it, and things started connecting. So that's something people need to bear in mind, man. That people are too stressed these days, and stress is unhealthy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, stress is one of the biggest killers. And this is why, you know, you got to just trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. At some point, the dots will connect. But Jacob, to wrap up this podcast, offer somebody your final words of wisdom on how they can maximize this year in terms of their personal life, into young guys, you know, because obviously you might think to yourself, well, people that are older than me might not relate with me, but someone who's 16, 17, 18, 19, which is a large part of my demographic, who are like, man, but where do I begin, bro? What do I do? You know, I'm worried about not achieving success. What would you tell them?
Fucking try everything. Literally, try everything. You'll never know what you like and what you don't like if you stay in the same thing all day, every day. You know, you just try everything, and then once you figure something that you like, you don't need to have all the answers. You don't have to do... I don't have all the answers. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing in the next couple of years. Who knows? But right now, I'm happy. I'm getting through day to day, and I'm enjoying it. And that's all that it is. Figure out what you like, try a bunch of shit, and then do what makes you happy.
That's it. Well, you know what, man? This podcast has been very entertaining. Hope you enjoyed it.
I did actually,
learned
really
a great
did.
deal. And we're going to run it back. You know, I tell every guest at the end that we're going to run this back. You know, I like to keep a good amount of time in between, just so that you can do a lot of shit and come back and talk about it.
When I come back from travelling,
where you
we'll do
going?
that. I've got Latvia, I've got Portugal, I've got Amsterdam, and I've got New Zealand.
Ooh, there's going to be people from these countries watching.
Yeah, man.
Offer Jacob some...
if you want to give me a free place to stay, let me know.
Why not? Hey, comment down below.
I'll do that. Yeah, that'll be great.
That's amazing, man. I hope you enjoy your travels, and thanks for coming down today. I learned a great deal as well, sitting down and talking with you, and I hope the audience enjoyed this as well. I'm sure they did. If you did, make sure you give this podcast a like, comment, let us know what you think down below. I'm going to link Jacob's socials down. He's going to be uploading content very, very soon.
I am actually, yeah.
So
I set up the account, done it.
It's all ready.
Yeah,
It's in motion for a while.
He has been saying, he's been encouraging me for a while. I'm going for it. I'm going to do it.
It's happening.
Overextend. Figure it out later.
Exactly. So you're going to see videos by the time this is up on Monday. You're going to see videos that Jacob would have posted on his social media. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.